Hey everyone, and welcome back to Hoops All Day. With the NBA being a month or so in, by the time this video gets posted, we've seen a good enough amount of ball played to judge and analyze every single player and aspect of the game pretty decently. Teams have claimed their identities, coaches have gotten in the groove with rotations and sets, and individual players have found their roles on their teams. With that said, today we'll be discussing the best players coming off the bench for their teams, aka 6 men that have had the biggest impact when the starters go out. We'll be ranking the top ones 1 through 5, with the final goal to find the most likely 6 Man of the Year winner. Let's start off with a few honorable mentions first. Players just missing the cut, resulting in being on the honorable mentions list, include Montrezl Harrell, Carmelo Anthony, Kyle Kuzma, and Eric Pascal. I originally had Pascal over at number 5 on this list, but I decided to move him to the honorable mentions due to a lack of consistency these past few games. Anthony, he was a tough cut from this list. His scoring ability still sticks around after 17 or so years in the NBA. That's always been a good pick-me-up for the Blazers bench. Maybe if he could do anything other than score rebounds, maybe play slightly above average defense, he'd be my instant number 1. But in terms of the 6-man race, it just feels like he's missing one key thing to win it. Harrell, who won the award last year, has been consistently inconsistent throughout the season so far in his bench role, and his scoring total is down from last year. There are simply better players coming off the bench this year. With Kuzma, some may not notice this, but he's been a pretty consistent scorer when it matters. Think of an example when playing the Warriors. He hit, I think, 2 back-to-back treys in the final 5 minutes or so to keep the Lakers' slight lead. He's been consistent with pretty much every statistic, including being an improved defender, but same case as Harrell, they've just been better this year. Moving into number 5 with the 6 Man of the Year race, we've got Tyrese Halliburton of the Sacramento Kings. A consistent 10-5-5 player, Halliburton's been an efficient option off the bench for the Kings. Shooting 47, 41, and 80, these stats are a resemblance of a seasoned NBA vet, and yet they're coming from a first-year rookie. It's impressive all the more when you look past the stats and onto the court for this guy. He's got great vision, which should already be established from the assist numbers. His shooting's obviously been pretty outstanding, although I haven't gotten around to watching a Kings game yet, considering how bad the rest of their team is. Halliburton's defensive stats look good on paper at 1 steal and 1 block per game, and the main focus of my pre-draft analysis on him was his defense. With his quick 6'5", 185-pound frame and high IQ, plus a general love for the game, I would assume he at the very least hasn't been bad on that end, and if I were to make predictions off what I haven't seen, I'd say he's been pretty solid defensively. Straying a little from the topic, I'd say him and De'Aaron have potential to make a dangerous two-way backcourt in the future, but anyways, taking all this into account is why I have him in front of experienced vets / pass winners, and when you count his flaws, lower stat lines as a rookie, less of an impact right now, not a focal point for the offense nor defense of the Kings, that's why I have him lower than the top 4. Over at number 4, we've got Philadelphia's own Shake Milton. Averaging 14 points a game this season, it's no surprise to see Shake on this list. He's also in total dropped 2 30 pieces this season. In response to this, you might be thinking, award races in the NBA, they're not all about scoring. Here's the thing though. No, you're wrong. You're wrong to even say or think that. Every major NBA award handed out yearly that isn't the Defensive Player of the Year or Coach of the Year is centered around scoring capability and how much the individual player in question contributes to his team's record. Well, we've went through the scoring impact, and now let's discuss his ability to win. Win shares, as we talked about in the Defensive Player of the Year race video, are an estimation of how many wins one player adds to their team while using some complex formula I'm too lazy to explain nor understand. It is, however, an accumulative stat, meaning it will get bigger over the course of an NBA season. Anyways, Shake's win share show is adding around 1.2 wins to his team this year. That fares well in comparison to others on this list like Tyrese, who boasts the exact same amount, Caris LeVert, who's been hurt, who boasts 0.6 win shares, or Jordan Clarkson, who only posts 0.5 win shares better than Milton. One more thing I'd like to state before we move on to our next candidate, Shake's had a solid season in every other statistic, posting a career-high 3 assists per game and another high with 5 field goals made per game. At number 3, we've got Caris LeVert of the Brooklyn Nets. Prior to an injury that later turned out to be a mass on LeVert's kidney, he was by far looking like the best 6 man of the year in the game. Quite frankly, he was looking like a star on the bench, and I don't throw around that term lightly. The Brooklyn Nets are the team Caris played for during the duration of the season, given he hasn't laced up for his new Indiana team yet, and on the Nets he created team success. The Nets had a record of 6-6 with a tough starting out schedule and missing their second best player for a majority of that stretch. Adding to their team success, Caris has 0.6 win shares this season, season, which seems small compared to other examples I've listed, but this is through less games than the other players as he's only played 12. Straying away from the advanced stats, Karras has 18.5 points per game this season, and that ranks second among all bench players, or first if we're only counting this list. Surprising as it may be, given LeVert's previous season totals of 4.4 assists and 3.9, Karras has 6 assists per game this season, which ranks 21st in the NBA. Despite the injury, he's a no-brainer for this list. In the second place of my 6 Man of the Year rankings, we've got Chris Boucher of the Toronto Raptors. His most notable attribute from this season, standing out not only on a team level, but on a league-wide level, is his uncanny sense to always seem to be in the right place at the right time to block a shot. His 2 blocks a game don't tell the whole story no matter how impressive they may be though, because this doesn't account for deflections or mere turnovers caused by his effort on the defensive end. That's right, not only is he a top 5 candidate for the 6 Man of the Year award, but I'd also go as far to say he's top 10 at least for the Defensive Player of the Year. Offensively, he fits the bill of an ideal center in the modern NBA, as he's able to space the floor and defend the paint and perimeter. This is not all he's limited to offensively, however, contrary to what his height of 6'9" would suggest. He's a dominant force close to the hoop and even has some crafty post moves, unlike many big men. It's truly baffling to me why he isn't starting, but then again, the Raptors can't exactly be unsatisfied with his bench production. Taking the number 1 spot, my favorite for the 6 Man of the Year award, Jordan Clarkson of the Utah Jazz. He's got 17.4 points per game this season and is helping the Jazz retain the number 1 record right now. That could be all I say in this position would be justified, but no, there's more. Outside of Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley, Rudy Gobert, he is no doubt the 4th best player on this team. As a guard, his creation for other this year has been nothing special, but it also hasn't been abysmal. He's putting up 2 assists per game. Being 6'4" player, he uses his height to his advantage, getting around 5 rebounds a game. Now, going out of stats, we really need to talk about the main reason I actually have him at number 1. It's his on-court impact. There's a clear difference in the team's play when he hops onto the floor. Let me put it into perspective for you. Last year, midway through the season, was when the Jazz added Clarkson. The season was weird last year, and he didn't get much playing time, as coincidentally his own teammate Rudy Gobert shut down the league. Anyway, the Jazz ended the season as the 6th seed in the conference, and I'll say it one more time. The Jazz are now the 1st seed in the entire NBA. If that doesn't speak to you, I don't know what will. With that, I think I've pretty much convinced you with all the resources and all the power available to me that this should be the order for this year's NBA 6 Man of the Year race, but more specifically, that Jordan Clarkson should finish first in regard to this award. Thank you for watching, and if you'd like to see more content like this, please leave a like and subscribe. We're exactly 3 away from 100, so again, don't be a stranger to that red button. See ya!